Hello students, welcome to Tungal online classes. So we are discussing about the objective part of complex numbers. So theory is completed. Let us see the numericals based on this objective part. See level 1. Question number 2. If I equal to square root of minus 1 and n is a positive integer, then what is the value of I power n plus I power n plus 1 plus I power n plus 2 plus I power n plus 3. So you have to evaluate this value where I is square root of minus 1. So whether it is mentioned or not mentioned, we know I is always square root of minus 1, and here n is a positive integer. Now we need to find the value of I power n plus I power n plus 1 plus I power n plus 2 plus I power n plus 3 value. Now to evaluate this value, okay, so n can be any positive integer. So one thing we can do is take any value for n, any positive value for n. Maybe we can take n as 1 or 2 or 3, any value you take, the answer will be always same only, okay. That is one method, taking some value for n. Now another method is, in each of these terms you can take I power n common. So if I take I power n is common from each term, what will be remaining? Here 1 is remaining, plus now I power n common, remaining is I power n common means I square I power 3. So by taking I power n common, this is what remains. Now we can find these values, I power n into 1 plus I, what is I square value we know, minus 1, I cube I can write minus I cube is nothing but minus I. By writing I square into I square is minus 1 into I is minus I. So you can see that plus 1 minus 1 cancel, plus I minus I cancel. So remaining I power n into 0, the answer is always 0 only. Understand? So here the required answer will be 0, okay. So from this what we can conclude, whenever we are having I powers, okay, so I power the sum of consecutive integers, okay, I power the sum of this consecutive integers, 4 consecutive integers will be always 0, okay. So you can remember this as a note, I power n plus I power n plus 1 plus I power n plus 2 plus I power n plus 3. Only if you take a sum of the 4 consecutive terms in terms of I powers, the sum is always 0 only, okay. For example, if I take I power 10 plus I power 11 plus I power 12 plus I power 13 value, okay. So if I take I power this sum of 4 terms where powers are consecutive integers, then only we can get a sum as 0. You can see here I power 10 I can write as I power 8 into I square, we are writing nearest multiple of 4. I power 11 I can write as I power 8 into I cube, I power 12 is 1, I power multiple of 4 is 1 we know, I power 13 I can write as I power 12 into I power 8 is 1, I square is minus 1, I power 8 is 1, I cube is minus I plus 1, I power 12 is 1 into I. So what we get, minus 1 minus I plus 1 plus I. So I will get cancelled, 1 will get cancelled, we will get sum is 0, okay. So this we can remember, it will be useful whenever we are calculating I power sum of terms where the powers are consecutive integers, okay. Next, see question number 4. If 1 minus I whole power 2n divided by 1 plus I whole power 2n plus 1 is a real number, then what is the n value? So what should be n so that this complex number is a real number? So here one thing we can do is you can substitute n value. Okay, take first option, substitute n as 2, simplify this, see are we getting some real number or not. Okay, if not first option, then we take second option, substitute 0, simplify and see are we getting some real number or not. So by verification we can do, that is the one method. Okay, so whenever we are solving the problems on objective, method of solving can be more than one method will be there. Okay, so here method of solving is not important, what is important is getting the answer is important. Okay, so whatever method you follow, there may not be always unique method to solve objective part, there will be more than one methods for some problems here. So one thing I can do is substitute the options, see which option satisfies. If none of these three satisfies, then we write such n does not exist. Now if I solve directly, see, let us take a given complex number as z, 1 minus I whole power 2n divided by 1 plus I whole power 2n plus 1, I can write as 1 plus I whole power 2n into 1 plus I. Denominator I can write like this. Why I am writing like this? Because numerator power is 2n, so denominator power also 2n, then we can write it as 1 minus I divided by 1 plus I whole to the power of 2n into 1 by 1 plus I. Okay. Now to simplify this type of one question we discussed in objective, in PU part, rationalize denominator. So 1 minus I divided by 1 plus I we have, multiply and divide 1 minus I whole to the power of 2n into 1 by 1 plus I. What is the numerator we get? Multiply 1 minus I minus I minus into minus plus I square. Denominator a plus b, a plus ib into a minus ib. What is the product a plus ib into a minus ib? A square plus b square whole to the power of 2n into 1 by 1 plus I. Now this also I will rationalize. Okay, take conjugate of denominator and multiply divide. Now why I am doing all this? Because we have to find n value so that this will be a real number. So first you have to simplify this complex number, then only we can assume for n. Understand? So this is the numerator 1, this is minus 2i, I square is minus 1 whole to the power of, divided by 2 whole to the power of 2n into 1 minus I divided by, again a minus ib into a plus ib, a square plus b square. So 1 will get cancelled here, minus 2i by 2, minus I whole to the power of 2n into 1 minus I divided by 2. So this will be the simplified form of this given complex number. Now assume what should be n value so that this will become a real number. Still we can verify from options. Suppose I is 2, n is 2. If n is 2, what we get? Minus I whole power 4. What is minus I power 4? It is 1. Now 1 into 1 minus I by 2, we get 1 minus I by 2. Is it a real number? No. So n we cannot take 2. Can we take n as 0? If n is 0, minus I power 0 is 1. 1 into 1 minus I by 2, we get 1 minus I by 2. Now is 1 minus I by 2 a real number? No, because we have imaginary part, it is not a real number, it is a complex number. So 0 we cannot take. Can we take 3? If n is 3, minus I power 6. So what we get? Minus I power 6 means minus power 6 is plus, I power 6 is minus 1. Now minus 1 into 1 minus I by 2. So what we get? Minus 1 plus I by 2. Still is it a real number? No, it is also not a real number. Okay. So there will be no value of n. Observe here, any value of n we can take. This may be some real number. Okay. This will be real number, but into 1 minus I by 2 we have. So into 1 minus I by 2 means this is complex, so product will be always complex. Okay. So there exists no such value of n where z can be real. Okay. So there is no value of n where this value can be a real number. Understanding? So any value of n we take, that given complex number can never be real number. Okay. Next. So the next question, the value of sigma from n equal to 1 to 13 I power n plus I power n plus 1 where I is square root of minus 1 is. So again this is a problem based on I powers. So first we expand that summation given. What is the summation? Sigma from n equal to 1 to 13 I power n plus I power n plus 1 is equal to, expand the summation. If I take n equal to 1, what we get? I power 1 plus I power 2 plus, if n is 2, I square plus I cube and so on up to 13. Now before 13 we have 12, I power 12 plus I power 13 plus I power 13 plus I power 14. This is the expansion of sigma notation. Now add these terms, I plus I square plus I square plus I cube plus I cube plus I power 4 and so on. If you observe, there are some terms which are repeating, I square repeating, I cube repeating, I power 12 repeating, I power 13 repeating. So which terms are repeating? I square, I cube, I power 4 and so on up to I power 13. Now each term is repeating how many times? 2 times. So this can be simplified as I is only once, I power 14 also only once. Now remaining all are 2 times. So take 2 common, I square, I cube and so on up to where? I power 13. So these are repeated 2 times plus last term is I power 14. So I plus 2 into, now observe this I square, I cube up to I power 13. Okay. So if you observe this, we have sum of I powers where powers are consecutive integers. So whenever we have I power sum of consecutive integers, okay, so 4 terms if we take, the sum will be always 0. So from I square, I cube, I power 4, I power 5. Okay, let us write like this: I square, I cube, I power 4 plus I power 5. Next, I power 6, I power 7, I power 8, I power 9, I power 10, I power 11, I power 12, I power 13. Up to 13 we have plus I power 14. So if we see that this sum of 4 consecutive terms, this will be 0, this will be 0 and this will be 0. Okay, as we have seen in that question number 2, this will be 0. So I plus 2 into 0 plus 0 plus 0. Since we have finite number of terms, I am writing all the terms. Otherwise, just by observation, so till how many terms we are having, we can write the summation. Plus I power 14, I can write as I power 12 into I square. So this is I plus, this is 0. I power 12 is 1, I square is minus 1. So this is I 0, 1 into minus 1 is minus 1. So the required answer is I minus 1. Understand? So we have to remember this: I power sum of consecutive terms. Power should be consecutive terms. Okay. then only the sum of 4 terms will be 0. Okay. Next. See the question number 7. I plus I square plus I power 4 plus I power 6 and so on up to I power 2n. So here we do not know n value, but summation we need up to I power 2n. Now this value, is it positive or negative or 0 or cannot be determined. Okay. So if I take the summation and expand, 1 plus I square plus I power 4, I power 6, next I power 8 and so on. So if you observe, we are having I power even numbers. We are having I power even numbers starting from 0 to 4, 6 and so on up to 2n. Okay. So if I simplify this, see what we get. This is first term is 1, next second term is I square which is minus 1, I power 4 is 1, I power 6 is minus 1, I power 8 is plus 1 and so on. So the sum will be 1 we can cancel, 1 we can cancel. Now what will be the last term? Do we know the last term here? We do not know last term because we do not know the value of n. Okay. Now see, for any value of n, is the answer same or even n is changing? Okay. So n is changing means if n is even or n is odd, so is the answer different or same we get. Okay. So directly we cannot simplify this because we do not know the value of n. Suppose if I take some values for n and see what is the answer we get. Let us take n equal to 1. Now n is 1 means sum up to where? Sum up to I power 2 into 1 means sum up to I square. Okay. So sum up to I square means 1 plus I square. It is 1 minus 1 which is 0. Understand? So whenever I take n as 1, we are getting answer as 0. Now don't directly go for answer as 0. We have to see for some other values also. Let us take n is 2. Now when n is 2 means sum up to where? I power 2 into 2 up to I power 4. So if I take sum up to I power 4, 1 plus I square I power 4, 1 I square is minus 1 plus 1. So we are getting answer as plus 1. Okay. So some cases we are getting 0, some cases we are getting 1. Next if I take n is 3, so sum up to where? I power 2n, n is 3 means sum up to I power 6, 1 plus I square I power 4 up to I power 6 means what is the sum? 1 minus 1, I power 4 is 1, I power 6 is minus 1. So minus 1 plus 1 cancel, we get 0. Okay. If n is 4, sum up to I power 8, 1 plus I square I power 4, I power 6, I power 8. 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1, I power 8 is plus 1. So this will get cancelled, we get plus 1 as answer and so on. Now from this calculations, what we can observe is whenever n is odd, what is the answer? 0. Whenever n is even, answer we are getting plus 1. So the value of this expression, it depends on n value. Unless we know n value, can we determine the value of this expression? We cannot determine the value of this expression until we know n value. So here n is not known. So this sum, maybe it is 0 or maybe it is plus 1, depends on n value. So here given summation depends on value of n. So depends on n value, we can have the answer as 0 or 1. So can we say that answer is always 0? We cannot say. Can we say answer is always 1? We cannot say. So Here the answer cannot be determined until we know the value of n. Okay. So if it is given that summation when n is odd, answer will be 0. If it is given that summation when n is even, answer will be plus 1. Okay. Next. So question number 8. The least positive integral value of n for which 1 minus I divided by 1 plus 1 plus I whole power 2n is 1. So this type question we solved in PU. How to simplify 1 minus I divided by 1 plus I whole power 2n, whatever be power, 1 minus I divided by 1 plus I whole to the power of 2n we have. So to simplify this, we have to rationalize the inside term. So we have 1 minus I divided by 1 plus I. Now multiply and divide 1 minus I whole to the power of 2n. Numerator multiply 1 minus I, minus into minus is plus I square. Denominator a plus ib into a minus ib, a square plus b square whole to the power of 2n. 1 minus 2i, I square is minus 1 divided by 2 whole to the power of 2n. So 1 cancelled, minus 2i by 2, it is minus I whole to the power of 2n. Okay. Now given that this value equal to 1, okay, means this value should be equal to 1. So first I am simplifying this. 1 minus I divided by 1 plus I whole to the power of 2n. This is simplified to minus I whole power 2n. So given that this value equal to 1 means this should be equal to 1. Minus I whole power 2n is equal to 1. So what should be the least positive integral value of n? Now you can see from options. Out of this, first we check least. N is 2. If n is 2, see is that value equal to 1 or not? If n is 2, minus I power 4. What is minus I power 4? I power 4, which is equal to 1. Okay. So least value of n. Least positive integral value of n is 2. Okay. If I take n is 4, see what we get, minus I power 8 is I power 8, that is also 1 only, but we need least value. So least value will be 2 here, and the power is 2n. Understand? Next, see question number 11. The value of 1 plus I whole power 6 plus 1 minus I whole power 6 is. Now if you observe, we are having the terms power 6. Now expanding power 6, is it easier? We know expansion for a plus b whole square or a plus b whole cube, a minus b whole square or a minus b whole cube. Okay. So when power is a square or a cube, we know the expansion. But when power is large, like if you have 4 or 10 or 6, then in such case we have to use one theorem which is called as binomial theorem. Okay. So again it is as per the reduced syllabus. This part is deleted now, but it will have more applications. So just try to remember the formula. Okay. So first we write binomial expansion. This is called a binomial theorem. So if I have the expansion of a plus b whole to the power of n, a plus b whole to the power of n. Now here n can be any positive integer, maybe it is 6 or 10 or 20. So whenever we are having the higher powers, we will be using this binomial theorem to expand. Okay. So sum of terms a plus b whole power n can be written as nc naught into a power n plus nc1 into a power n minus 1 into b plus nc2 a power n minus 2 into b square, and so on up to last term ncn into b to the power of n. Okay. So, this is called a binomial theorem. Understand? So, here NC0, NC1, NC2 up to NCn, these are called as the binomial coefficients. And how to evaluate this value NC0, NC1 up to NCn using the formula. Maybe in lower classes we studied expansion, NCR, NPR in terms of factorial notation. So, NCR can be defined as n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. Okay, where NCR can be written as n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. Okay. So, using this expansion we can find a plus b whole power any integer. Understand? Now, if I replace plus b with minus b in all these terms, similarly we can write a minus b whole to the power of n. So, a minus b whole power n is nc0 a power n minus nc1 a power n minus 1 into b plus nc2 a power n minus 2 into b square minus and so on. Okay. We are just replacing plus b with minus b. Here we have plus b and here we have minus b. So, replace plus b with minus b. Here it is minus b into plus will become minus. What is minus b whole square will become plus. So, here alternately we will get positive and negative terms and so on. Now, the last term depends on the power. If the power is even, last term will get positive. If power is odd, last term will get negative. Okay. So, this is the binomial expansion. So, using this formula now I can expand 1 plus I whole power 6 and we can expand 1 minus I whole power 6, then we can add this two terms. Okay. So, note down the formula. So, what is 1 plus I whole power 6 expansion I can write? Using this binomial expansion, so what will be 1 plus I whole to the power of 6? It is 6C0. In place of A we have 1, in place of B we have I. So, 6C0 into 1 power 6 plus 6C1 1 power 6 minus 1 5 into B, B means I, 6C2 1 power 6 minus 2 4 into I square, 6C3 1 power 6 minus 3 3 into I cube plus 6C4 1 power 6 minus 4 6 minus 4 is 2 into I power 4 plus 6C5 1 power 6 minus 5 is 1 into I power 5 plus 6C6 1 power 6 minus 6 is 0, that is I power 6. So, this will be the last term NCn into b power n. When plus is there, this is the expansion. Now, when minus is there, what will be 1 minus I whole power 6? Same terms will get, but there will be alternately positive, negative. Okay. So, 1 minus I whole power 6 we can write 6C0 1 power 6 minus 6C1 1 power 5 into 1 plus 6C2 1 power 4 into I square minus 6C3 1 cube into I cube plus 6C4 1 power 2 into I power 4 minus 6C5 1 into I power 5 plus 6C6 I to the power of 6. Okay. Writing alternately positive, negative whenever it is in the form a minus b whole power n. Now, what we need is summation of these two is needed. So, adding these two, adding the two terms, see what we get, 1 plus I whole power 6 plus 1 minus I whole to the power of 6 is equal to. Now, when we are adding, observe the terms are same only, but they are alternately positive, negative. So, this is positive and this is negative, it will get cancelled, positive, negative cancelled. positive negative cancelled. Okay, so adding this 6c naught into 1 power 6, 6c naught into 1 power 6. So they are added means we will get 2 times of this term, 2 times of this term, 2 times of this term, like this. So each term is repeated 2 times. I will take that 2 common, taking 2 common. So what will get 6c naught 1 power 6 plus 6c2 1 power 4 into I square, 6c4 1 square into I power 4 plus 6c6 I power 6. Now we have to simplify this value, understand? So 2 into 6c0 value. So using that NCR formula, NCR is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So using this formula we can find these values. 6c0 is 1 into 1 power 6 is 1 plus 6c2 value. So 6c2 value is 6 into 5 by 2, so it is 15. 1 power 4 is 1, I square is minus 1. 6c4 is also 15 only. 1 square is 1, I power 4 is 1. 6c6 is 1, I power 6 is minus 1. So 2 into this is 1 minus 15 plus 15 minus 1. So minus 1 plus 1 cancelled, 15 cancelled, 2 into 0. So answer will get 0. So the required answer will be 0. Understand? So whenever we have power is higher numbers like 6, 10 and so on, so we will be using the binomial theorem to expand. Okay, so you have to remember that formula of expansion of a plus b whole power n, a minus b whole power n. It will be very useful in many calculations. Okay, next. So question number 13. The additive inverse of complex number is, some complex number is given, we have to write its additive inverse. Now what is mean by additive inverse? If you remember in PU part we discussed, suppose Z is any complex number, Z is any complex number, then what is mean by additive inverse? Additive inverse is minus z. Okay, what is the definition of additive inverse? For the given complex number, if I add one more complex number, the sum should be 0. So this complex number is called additive inverse. So when z is any complex number, minus z is called as the additive inverse. Okay, so it is different from multiplicative inverse we studied. So when z is any complex number, what is the multiplicative inverse means? 1 by z. Okay, so that is what we studied, multiplicative inverse. So here they are asking the additive inverse, which is minus z. But is the complex number in the form of a plus ib? Given complex number is directly not in the form of a plus ib. So first you have to simplify that, write in terms of a plus ib, then only we can take additive inverse. Let z is equal to given complex number 1 plus 2i into 3 minus 4i. So first multiply and simplify. 1 into 3, 1 into minus 4i, 2i into 3 plus 6i, plus 2i into minus 4i, minus 8i square. So 3 minus 6i plus 4i, sorry, minus 4i plus 6i, 2i, minus 8 into I square is minus 1. So 3 plus 2i plus 8. So we get 11 plus 2i. So this is a given complex number z. So any complex number given, first you have to simplify it and write in standard form of a plus ib or x plus iy. Okay. So now what we need, additive inverse of z is given by minus z. So what is minus z now? Minus of z, 11 plus 2i. So minus 11 minus 2i is the required answer, that is fourth option. Understand? So this is how we take additive inverse. Next, see question number 14. Sigma from n equal to 0 to infinite, 2i divided by 3 whole to the power of n is equal to, so summation we have to find here. So first expand the summation. Since we have 2i by 3 whole power n, it will be some complex number, take it as z. So let z equal to sigma from n equal to 0 to infinite, 2i divided by 3 whole to the power of n. Substitute 0. When n is 0, something power 0 is 1, plus n is 1, 2i by 3, plus n is 2, 2i by 3 whole square. Next n is 3, 2i by 3 whole cube, plus 2i by 3 whole power 4, and so on, up to where? Up to infinite. So we are having a sum of infinite number of terms. So whenever we are having the sum of infinite number of terms, think that is it forming a GP? In GP we know, in case of GP, a plus ar square up to infinite. Okay, a plus ar square, standard GP, where we have infinite number of terms. What is the formula for sum of infinite terms? A by 1 minus r. Okay, sum of infinite terms in a standard GP, it is a by 1 minus r. So whenever we have infinite number of terms, observe that is it forming a geometric progression or not? How to check it is geometric progression or not? Just take the ratio of consecutive terms, 2i by 3 divided by 1, 2i by 3, 2i by 3 whole square divided by 2i by 3, 2i by 3, whole cube divided by whole square, 2i by 3. So ratio same means it is forming a GP, forms a GP, geometric progression, where what is the first term? First term is 1, and what is the common ratio? 2i by 3. So what will be the sum of infinite terms? Okay, we have the sum of terms. Now simplifying all this, I can write as a by 1 minus r. So 1 by 1 minus r is 2i by 3. So answer should be like this, 1 by 1 minus 2i by 3. But options are not like this. So we have to simplify this, take LCM, 3 will come to numerator, 3 minus 2i. Still options are not like this. I we have in denominator, so write in numerator, we have to rationalize 3 plus 2i divided by 3 plus 2i. So multiply numerator, 9 plus 6i divided by denominator, a minus ib into a plus ib. So it will be a square plus b square. So simplified form of z is 9 plus 6i, 9 plus 4 is 13. Okay, so the required answer 9 plus 6i divided by 13. Okay, next, see question number 16. Mod z is given and argument of z is given, then what is the complex number? So what formula we can use here? We need the complex number z. What they given is modulus of complex number is given and argument of complex number is given. What is the relation between complex number and modulus and argument, that is the polar form. Okay. So given modulus of z I denote by r, it is 4. Argument of z is denoted by theta, which is 5 pi by 6. So once we know once we know r and theta, how can you write a complex number z? By using polar form. By using polar form, z can be written as r into cos theta plus I sin theta. Remember, modulus of complex number known and argument of complex number is known. Then we can write z by using polar form, r into cos theta plus I sin theta. R is 4 into cos theta, theta is 5 pi by 6 plus I sin 5 pi by 6. What is cos 5 pi by 6 value? 5 pi by 6 I can write as pi minus pi by 6. It lies in second quadrant, cos is negative. So minus root 3 by 2 plus I into sin 5 pi by 6. Angle lies in second quadrant sin is positive. If you don't know how to write directly, then we write like this. Cos 5 pi by 6 I can write as pi minus pi by 6 sin pi minus pi by 6. You know how to find this quadrant angles in trigonometry we studied. 4 into cos 180 minus theta, it is minus cos theta, second quadrant. Sin 180 minus theta is plus sin theta plus sin pi by 6. So it is 4 into minus root 3 by 2 I into 1 by 2. So multiplying 4 we get 2 into minus root 3 plus I. So this is the complex number required. Multiplying 2 we get minus 2 root 3 plus 2i. So minus 2 root 3 plus 2i. Fourth option will be correct. Understand? See, in PU what we were doing, in case of PUC, z is given in the form of x plus iy. Okay. So in PUC this was given and we are finding what is the modulus and what is the argument. But here they given modulus and they given argument, we have to find a complex number. Okay. So it is the reverse method they are given. Next. See 19. The conjugate of complex number is, some complex number is given, we have to find its conjugate. So what is mean by conjugate of complex number? If z is in the form x plus iy, when z is in the form of x plus iy, what is the conjugate? Z bar equal to x minus iy. We have to change only the sign of imaginary part. What is the complex number in the form of a plus ib or x plus iy? No. So it is not in that form. Is first by simplifying, write in the standard form, then only we can take a conjugate. Okay. So let us take a given complex number as z, 2 minus I divided by 1 minus 2i whole square. So first simplify it and write in standard form. Denominator we can simplify first. Numerator is same. What is the 1 minus 2i whole square? It is in the form a minus b whole square. I can write a square plus b square minus 2ab. Okay, it is in the form of a minus b whole square. Using the formula a square plus b square minus 2ab. So 2 minus I divided by 1. What is 2i whole square? Minus 4i minus, 2i whole square is minus 4. So 2 minus I divided by minus 3 minus 4i. This is the given complex number z. 2 minus I by 3 minus 4i. Still it is not in the standard form. So rationalize denominator. Take the conjugate of denominator. Okay, only we change the sign of imaginary part. Minus 3 plus 4i, minus 3 plus 4i, multiply minus 6 plus 8i plus 3i minus 4i square. Denominator a minus ib, a plus ib. We can write a square plus b square. So z is minus 6, 8i plus 3i, 11i minus I square is minus 1 into minus plus 4 divided by 9 plus 16 is 25. So what will be z now? Minus 6 plus 4 it is minus 2 plus 11i divided by 25 we have. So this is a simplified form of given complex number in the form of a plus ib or x plus iy. Now once it is in the standard form, how do we write conjugate? Now we need we need conjugate of this complex number. Till now we simplified the given complex number. Now we need its conjugate. Now conjugate of z is given by z bar. So how to take z bar? Just change the sign of imaginary part. Real part is same, minus 2 by 25 it is same. Change the sign of imaginary part, it is minus 11i by 25. This will be the conjugate of complex number required, that is z bar. Understand? Next. See question number 21. If 2 minus I by 1 minus 2i whole square and minus x minus of x plus 11i by 25 are conjugate complex numbers, then what is x value? Okay. So suppose this is one complex number z1 and this is another complex number z2. Two complex numbers are said to be conjugate complex numbers under what condition? Okay. So whenever two complex numbers are given, z1 and z2 are conjugate complex numbers. z1 and z2 are conjugate complex numbers means one is the conjugate of the other. Okay. z1 is the conjugate of z2, or we can say z2 is the conjugate of z1. Okay. So if I say z1 is the conjugate of z2, so what is the meaning we can write? I can write like this: z1 is conjugate of z2, means I can write z1 as z2 bar, or z2 is conjugate of z1, means I can write z2 as z1 bar. Okay. So remember that two complex numbers are said to be conjugate complex numbers or conjugate of each other when one is the conjugate of the other. Either we can take this condition or this condition, answer will be same only. Okay. So z1 equal to z2 bar, or I can write as z2 equal to z1 bar. Okay. So any one we can follow. So here this is one complex number, this is another given, they are conjugate complex numbers. So I will equate z1 equal to z2 bar or z2 equal to z1 bar. By solving that we can find x value. Understand? Now for simplifying that, we don't have this in standard form, but this is in standard form. Okay. If you observe, this first complex number is similar to that previous question we solved. Okay. So I will take this as suppose z1. Same complex numbers we have, so no need to again simplify. Okay. You can follow the previous method, simplify it to the standard form like this. So this is the complex number z1 I am taking. So just I am simplifying that given complex number by taking as Z1, and I'll take this as Z2. Z2 equal to multiply minus x minus 11i divided by 25. So Z2 is minus x by 25 minus 11i by 25. Okay. So now we have Z1 and this is Z2. So what they given is given that they are conjugate complex numbers, means it should satisfy this condition, Z1 equal to Z2 bar or Z2 equal to Z1 bar. So using this, given that Z1 and Z2 are conjugate complex numbers, implies I can write Z1 as Z2 bar. Okay, we can write Z1 equal to Z2 bar or write Z2 equal to Z1 bar. What is Z1? This complex number minus 2 by 25 plus 11i by 25. It should be equal to what? Z2 bar. Z2 we know. Now what we require? It's a conjugate. So what is the conjugate of Z2? Change the sign of imaginary part, real part being same, x by 25 minus x by 25. Now it will become plus 11i by 25. Now by solving this, we will get x value. Compare 11i by 25, 11i by 25 it is same. Minus 2 by 25 minus x by 25. So minus x is minus 2. So what will be x value? 2. Just compare these two. Minus 2 we have minus x. So minus 2 equal to x I can write. X value will be 2. So the required answer is 2. Okay. So when two complex numbers are conjugate complex numbers or conjugate to each other, properties, one complex number we can write as conjugate of the other one. Okay. So solving this will get x value. Okay. Right. So try to complete up to question number 20, 21. So next we will continue in the next class. Okay. Any doubts you are having, please post in the group. Okay. Thank you.